Eric? Okay.
I guess I'll start off with the softball. Just what was summer as NBA champion Pat Connaughton like? Multiple trips. I know the Larry O came along with you a couple different times. Just what was that offseason like for you?
The offseason was great. It was cool to be able to experience, winning an NBA championship with friends and family. It was cool to be able to bring the NBA trophy back home to my house with my family, to bring it to my high school, a place where 10 years ago we won the first state championship the high school's ever had. 5 years ago I was able to get the court named after me, make a donation, and 10 years later I'm bringing the NBA championship trophy back, speaking to the student athletes, talking to them about being in their shoes, being a student at that school 10 years prior, and just seeing how far I've come was really unique, really special, really fun to be a part of with my friends, my family back home.
We'll talk about it all year, but just kind of the idea of fighting complacency. For years it had been what you guys can't do, you guys aren't good enough, and now you're the champs, you are good enough. How do you kind of stay on top of the mountain?
Yeah, I think it was a storybook ending for us, right, last year. But stories have sequels, stories have trilogies. At the end of the day, it's about continuing the next story, continuing the next book. And while you'll always hold the torch for the 2021 NBA season and have that be, the pinnacle of, such a wild year, the story ended. It had a storybook ending. Now it's about how do you start up the next one? How do you make sure that you are putting your best foot forth every single day to write the next story and understand how we wrote the first story, how we were able to get to where we were. It took, ebbs and flows. It took adversity. It took ups and downs, but it took the continuity, the togetherness, and the mentality of getting better each and every single day, because you can't win a championship in October. You can't win a championship on the first day of training camp, but you can focus on the journey each and every day.
Kind of along those same lines, is it a different feeling entering the season knowing you guys are the reigning NBA champions? And how excited are you to know that on opening night you're going to get your championship rings? That's got to be a little different.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I would say, if anything, it should just make us confident. But, confidence comes with responsibility, right? You don't want to be overly confident. You want to be confident enough in our abilities, which we have all been the last 3 years I've been here. We've all been confident that we can accomplish it. But then when you actually accomplish it, now the rest of the world knows you can accomplish it. You did accomplish it. So you don't want to inflate the confidence that we already had. You want to continue to have that edge. And so experiencing the ring ceremony on opening night will, I think, officially wrap up last season. It'll be a really special moment to share with teammates, to share with this organization, but most importantly to share with the fan base. I've seen over the course of this summer through some of my business relationships, some of my foundation relationships, families who have been generational season ticket holders, and their parents talk about the championship that was won 50 years ago, and the kids never knew if they were going to get to one, or when it was won, they were 2 or 3 years old and they didn't really get to experience it. So to see how rabid this fan base is and how tight-knit of a community this place is, I think that's what's going to make it so special, to be able to share that moment, to share that banner, to share those rings with the fan base of the Milwaukee Bucks, with the city, with the state, and get excited about trying to continue the journey that we've started over the last few years.
Earlier, John Horst was saying that he thought this team might be better, but in a different way. From what the people you have coming back, the changes that have been made to the roster, what do you think y'all have right now, and how it might compare to what you had a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, look, the difficult thing about the NBA is there's a business to it, right? So your teammates change. Your team may change. pending where you go, pending who you're playing for, pending who you're playing with. But to have a lot of the core group of guys back to play alongside, Drew, Giannis, Chris, Dante, George is back, Bobby's back. Like, to have everybody back, Coach Bud, John Horst, like, to have everybody back within the organization that I would say we've gone through this journey on the last 3 years, and then to add a incredible group of talented basketball players to the mix, I think it creates a level of confidence and a level of, this team might be better. It's going to be different, and we have to learn, and we have to learn together, and we have to learn how to play together, and we have to learn how to fight through adversity together. But the talent level is there, the depth is there, and I think the character of each and every single guy is there. And I think that's what got us through, the first 2 years I was here where we, fell short, and to, finish it off last year. So it's about making sure the new guys understand and learn both from example and from vocal leadership from the guys who have been here.
We got to talk to Semi earlier, and he said, coming from the Boston Celtics, it wasn't about going somewhere about who had championships. It was about going somewhere where he saw opportunity and going somewhere where the culture was stable and it was a good culture. Maybe you guys don't go back to back. Maybe you don't win 5 championships, but is there pride in what has been established here in Milwaukee in a smaller market that this is a place where people want to go to whether you're winning or not?
Yeah, I would say, look, even falling short the first 2 years, just because you have the best team or one of the best teams doesn't guarantee you winning an NBA championship. It's hard. You have to stay healthy. You have to make sure there's so many things. There's luck involved. There's bounces of the basketball. There's good shooting nights, bad shooting nights, whatever. It's really hard to win an NBA championship no matter how good you are. You could be the best team in the regular season for 8 straight years and never win one. But I think what solidifies a career, an organization, a growth is putting yourself in a position to have a chance to win one on a yearly basis. Now, the next step is putting yourself in a position to be in contention, to be in the finals, to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, whatever it is, to put yourself in a position to actually win it, but to have the potential to win one and to build an organization and be a part of an organization that has stabilized itself as a winning culture, a great culture to be a part of, and a winning culture, I think is, in and of itself impressive. And now it's just about continuing to put ourselves in a position to be championship contenders and then using what we learned from last year to try to get ourselves over the hump.
Earlier, Bobby said PJ Tucker is a one of one. I don't think any of us would disagree with that. How does this team go about trying to replace him?
I don't know that it's about replacing PJ Tucker. I think it's about understanding what this team has and playing to this team's strengths, right? A lot of people, I think, will make the comparison, PJ Tucker's gone and you added, Rodney and Shemi and Grayson Allen, and how are they going to replace PJ? They're not going to replace PJ, but they have their own strengths that maybe PJ didn't have. They have their own talent. And so how do we make sure we're playing in our best way for this team, the 2021-22 Milwaukee Bucks team? Last year's team with PJ was great. It was a championship team. It literally happened. This year's team, it's going to be different. It's not about replacing PJ, but it's about making sure that we're playing to our strengths. We're playing to the new guys' strengths. We're putting them in position to have success, and we're putting ourselves in position to win ball games.
Hey, Pat. You mentioned a few times the togetherness and going through things together last season, and even in the bubble to a degree, with the protocols and all the things you went through. This year will be different. Mark Lasry and John Horst said most of the team is vaccinated, so going forward, some guys won't be together with you. Like, just by rule, the league has made it that way. Do you anticipate either any team building or chemistry type of things that have to work through, because for the first time now in a couple seasons, it's not going to be the same for everyone, I guess, as you go through that.
Yeah, I mean, look, similarly to taking it one game at a time, we have to control what we can control. And so for us, I think we're a tight-knit group. I think we know each other more than just within the facility, more than just on the court, more than just as basketball players. We have genuine relationships outside of the game, outside of the facility, outside of the team, friendships. And I would say that is going to be as important as ever because, how we're able to interact as a team, who knows, TBD. But I think when we're able to interact as a team, when we're able to find ways to do team building stuff, when we're able to find ways to simply get dinner or to have other experiences as a collective group, it'll be special. It's what's kind of put ourselves in this position to have such great chemistry over the last 3 years. But we weren't able to do it sometimes last year, and we were able to obviously get through it, and we were able to make sure that we came out better for it on the other side. And so I think we got to control what we can control and make sure that we're developing genuine relationships with each other where we can.
I'm sure at this point in your career you have an off-season routine. How does your body feel? I mean, you've had 70 days off. So, and then what did you have to maybe do to adjust to get yourself ready, but also get healthier, if you will?
Yeah, for me personally, I would say it's been unique, right? Usually you have an off season, and I utilize the off season to, let's just say, get better, get stronger, get faster, get quicker, get more athletic. Because during the season, you have games. You have 82 games. You have playoffs. You have however many games it ends up being. Is more about trying to maintain. Well, the last two off seasons have been kind of unique, right? We've gone from having a shutdown during the middle of COVID to going into the bubble to not really having an off season, jumping right into a condensed season. So it's been a little interesting, and I would say the expedited off seasons the last few years, I would say kind of came to light, took a toll on guys' bodies near the end of last year. So ironically, I'd say my body feels better today than it did finishing last season. My athleticism feels more today than it did back then, but it's about making sure you individually do what you need to put yourself in a position to not just last 82 games in the playoffs, but to excel in 82 games in the playoffs, right? So understanding the extra work that I need to put in before practice, after practice, things that are going to put me in a position to make games feel easier than what I do on non-game days. Whatever that might be, it's different for everybody. But for me, it's about making sure I'm putting in more work because that's what's helped my body feel the best. That's what helped my jumping ability, my quickness feel the best. And that's what will hopefully get me back to showing off a few dunks during the season, which I wasn't able to do last year.